All right, I'm going to mute myself as well.
Sure. Thank you everyone who has joined today. And as we all know, the topic for today is relationship issues. One second, let me share the PPT. Okay. Yes. Okay, so as we all know, the topic for today is couple relationship issues. And I will be talking about various aspects, various facets to the issues that we face in our life and how we can bring back harmony in couple relationship issues. So what relationship issues actually look like? So the first picture is depicting how seemingly we understand relationship issues as. So we see people arguing, abusing, blaming, shaming, naming, fighting, not getting along with one another, cheating, all those things, which basically shows that these people are not compatible with one another, and adults who are not probably in align with one another. So they are coming from different aspects of life, different experiences, coming together as couple, and probably things are not getting forward the way it was planned. So this is apparently how, on the face of it, it looks like. But when we probe deeper into the dynamics that are playing around in a couple relationship issues, in reality, what we understand is that these two adults who have not been able to outgrow and heal or understand their childhood traumas, loss, hurt, pain. And as a result of that, once they get together in a couple relationship, their own inner childhood issues and the beliefs that they have been carrying from their childhood experiences, they get triggered. So when I consider a couple relationship or a marriage, sorry. So I consider what I've learned in my own journey is that a couple relationship is one of the institute where people get together, male and female, apparently with all the good intentions. But it is one of the institute that is there in this world, in this universe, trying to teach some very, very profound, laws of the universe, experiences, wisdom. It brings out the worst in us, things that we have never really looked at right from the childhood time. We have put it on one side. We have, hidden ourselves from the realities of life. And then when we come together as husband and wife, we are no longer hidden. So everything sort of becomes apparent. It's like a purge that comes out, and then we have to deal with it. And of course, this is because of the inner child issues. I will be talking more about that in my later slides. And the subconscious ancestral entanglements, as well as the beliefs that we have acquired from our parents, our grandparents, and all the people in our system which we belong to energetically and subconsciously. So there could be it could be a pattern in our families where separation, misunderstandings, incompatibility has been a pattern within the families. And so as a result of that, we have learned with their experiences that, marriage is so and so. Husband could be manipulating, husband is dominating, and as a wife, I have to be submissive, I have to just sacrifice. So all these beliefs are things that we learn as children. We see our parents interacting with one another in a certain way, in certain dynamics, and we tend to carry the same patterns into our own relationship when we enter into marriage. So your partner is a mirror. This is one very, very important thing that I have understood in my own learnings as well. And this is something that I always consider when I am dealing with a client who is having relationship issue or anything, because this is all in my mind 24/7 now. So it's very important to please mute yourself, whoever is joining now. So your partner is actually a mirror. What are they reflecting is the question now. So if you look at this picture that I have pasted here, every relationship you have is reflecting back to you. The relationship that you have between you and your inner being. So you think that you are a physical being, okay? But there are more facets to it. You are much more multi-dimensional than you perceive yourself to be. So wherever you are in your own journey with your own self is where other people will meet you and they will reflect the same back to you. So please, this is going to be a very deep topic, and probably you're going to take away a lot of insights from this today if you just allow yourself to absorb this information. Keep yourself open to whatever is being put forward today in the session. So imagine when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, how do you perceive yourself? So this is a question I'm putting forward to all of you. If you want to talk more about it, you can just mention in the chat if there is any question, if there's anything that comes up as a result of what I'm questioning right now. So when you look into the mirror, when you look at yourself in the mirror, how do you perceive yourself? How do you talk about yourself? What reflects back to you when you look into the mirror? How do you do the self-talk? Okay, because there is a difference of how we interact with others and how we actually interact with ourselves. That could be very different. So it's important to understand and imagine that you're looking at yourself in the mirror. How do you talk to yourself? If you doubt, blame, shame, ignore, loathe, belittle yourself, your partner will definitely 100% of the time will project the same onto you. So our partner, as a matter of fact, is just mirroring our inner reality, the reality that we have been running away from for a very, very long time. And they are just triggering those emotions, our unhealed issues, our unhealed, emotions that we have been running away from since a very, very long time, perhaps from childhood. So if he is being abusive, the question is, were you abused as a child? What did you learn from your abusive experiences as a child? Probably it is a learned behavior. You have allowed other people to abuse you, misuse you, probably also be emotionally unavailable to you. That is the next question. So I'll come to that in a bit. So we acquire all these things as a child. So if he is abusing you, the question to ask yourself is, were you abused as a child by anyone who was very close to you, who you trusted so much? It could be your father, it could be your mother, it could be a very dear friend, it could be anyone. So abuse could be, that's a very broad topic. I don't want to start this topic right now, but what I'm trying to give you all is a pointer to understand that if you were abused as a child, it has become a learned behavior. You have acquired a belief out, you have made a belief out of it that you don't deserve love probably, or something is probably wrong with you. That's why people are behaving with you like that. And your husband is also going to project the same onto you. If your husband is emotionally unavailable, so that is, a situation which is happening with many people, that the husband or the wife, so this is a topic, it could be with both genders. So if he or she is being emotionally unavailable, the question to ask is, which parent was emotionally unavailable to you when you were a child? So is mother emotionally unavailable to you? And probably 100% of the time people are not aware of the answer. So we have to keep on digging further. Where are these issues stemming from? What is the root cause behind it? Or if it was a father who was emotionally unavailable to you, and now you have attracted a guy or a lady, in both the scenario, who is bringing out the deep hurt that was supposed to be given by the parents. So if the parent was unable to give you the emotional attachment, the physical connection, the emotional connection, your husband and your wife is probably going to reflect the same back to you after you get married. Okay, so I have quoted an example here. A painful yet clear example is when people are mistreated. What is the mistreated person reflecting? So what is happening is that they don't respect themselves. They mistreat themselves as well. And other people in our environment, by mistreating us, by hurting us, by abusing us, they are reflecting the same thing back onto us so that we can wake up and take charge of our life instead of remaining a victim for the rest of our life, feeling helpless for the rest of our life. These people are mirroring something which is deeply hidden in my own being, and that needs to be brought up so that it can be released. And once it's released, once we gain our power and our strength and our wisdom back, what will happen is that you will be able to live your life in complete authenticity. You will be yourself, the way you are, the genuine person that you were supposed to be, or that you were at the time of your birth. So when you came into this world, God gave you, the universe gave you all the tools, all the powers, all the gifts. They're basically gifts, yes, for you to be able to live a better, fulfilling life. The universe and the God doesn't want you to suffer. We suffer because of our own mindset. We suffer because of our own beliefs and because of what we perceive ourselves to be. So in order for us to live our life with a lot of genuine intentions and genuine power and gifts that we have been bestowed with, we have to let go of what's holding us down. And that's one of the reasons why these people in our environment, they bring out the worst in us so that we can understand what is hidden underneath it. I hope nobody has any questions because I'm not able to check that out. Okay.
Not a question, but I think somebody's giving a feedback. Like, you talked about how it's coming from through your father. There is one participant, she agrees to that in the group chat.
Okay. Okay. Because I have this full slide on
my screen. She said, I do feel weak sometimes, and she agrees what you're saying, and then she said it's coming from her father.
Right. Yeah,
feedback. But if you guys have any question, please feel free to put it in the message.
And Amna, you can stop me and you can ask me the question because I may be missing it out, right?
Right. And I can read out to Shaista. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So the mirror, like any mirror, should be an opportunity to see each other clearly and make a decision. Some mirrors are very revealing, such as in this painful scenario that I was talking about. Why is that? So I've already talked about it, but I'll just go quickly with this. In order to teach yourself to become stronger, to change direction, to take control of your life, and to understand what gifts you've been bestowed with. What did you come to do in this world? What was the purpose of life? I often talk about the purpose of life. So yes, that happens only when we wake up to the realities of life. So everything around us is just an illusion. People around us, our husbands, our in-laws, and all those, they are illusion. They are trying to bring out the best in us. It could be painful, but yes, this is the ulterior motive why things happen to us the way they happen. Instead of asking yourself, why is this happening to me? So we have to flip the question and say, ask yourself, what is this person or the situation trying to teach me? That's when we get our power back. This question, that what is the situation or the person trying to teach me, actually gives us our power back. This question is empowering question. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Why are the people mistreating me all the time? I'm the poor one, I'm the victim, so I'm the helpless one. So we have to flip the situation. What is the situation trying to teach me? We have to gain the wisdom behind it and become a better version of yourself. Teach yourself to become stronger, to change direction, to take control of your own life. Look straight into the eyes of your shortcoming. So even the weaknesses, even the dark side, even the fear, even the feeling of being a victim, we have to look into its eyes and say, I know that you are there for a reason. I acknowledge your presence. So we have to sometimes talk to our emotions as well. Okay, sometimes we have to talk to all the uneasiness we are feeling deep within us. I know you are there. You're there for a reason. I'm not going to run away from you. I have the courage to look into your eyes and understand what are you trying to teach me. That's when we get our power back. So the shortcomings, they cease to be an instant, they strengthen us. So I will be talking about relationship issues in the context of family constellation therapy. So this therapy basically talks about relationships in terms of many, many deep aspects, which I will be talking about in my next slide. But to make you all understand what family constellation therapy is all about, let's first take a look at this slide, which says, so here you can see the solar system. We have all these planets revolving around sun in a certain orbit. We have all learned this in our, when we used to study science and all that. So what do I mean to say that? Why am I giving this as an example of solar system or an example of human body system? When we look at the solar system, everything is revolving around sun, all these planets in a certain dynamics. And we know that they cannot even move 1 inch from where they have been assigned. And God forbid, even if they do, which has never happened, I'm just giving a very, very hypothetical point, that if they do, what will happen? Everything else will crumble down. We all know that. On the other side of it, if you look at the human body is made of different systems. So we have this, lymphatic immune system, we have muscular system, respiratory, skeleton, reproductive, we all know that. So there are many systems and they all work in alignment with one another. If anything goes wrong with any one system, let's say nervous system or digestive system, something goes wrong in the gut, the whole body is the whole system of the body is disrupted. We're not able to feel at ease. Something is not okay. If something is wrong in the bones, the whole body feels, something out of it. The whole body is affected as a result of it. So every system is in line with one another, just like the solar system. Likewise, what I'm trying to say is that we humans have a family to which we belong. And even though we have been here for 30, 40, 50 years, the system to which we belong has been there for a very, very, very long time, centuries. There has been number of good and bad experiences in our families. Maybe we know some of the stories, maybe we do not know the stories, doesn't really matter. But energetically, those experiences, good and bad, they definitely affect us in the here and now. Our children too are affected as a result of it. So if you look around in the world, the number of diseases have surged up. The number of relationship issues have surged up. Number of chronic diseases have surged up. What's the reason behind it? The reason behind it is that there are lots and lots of unhealed traumas that people have gone through, and probably they didn't know how to process those traumas, how to deal with those traumas. And that has affected the genes. You can all, Google about it. On Google, it's called epigenetic. I've mentioned it here. This is now being proven by epigenetic research around the world since 20, 30 years now. Before this, even in psychology and psychiatry, trauma was not connected at an epigenetic level, that it can be passed on from generation to generation. But now, since few decades, 20, 30 years, there has been a profound research which shows clearly that traumas, tragedies, unresolved issues, unresolved emotional problems, they are passed down from one generation to the other. And it affects people big time. So what I've mentioned here is that many of us find ourselves in repeated undesired emotions or behavior and cannot understand why they keep interfering with our happiness. Whether we want it or not, the issues we are struggling with, our personality traits, our expectations of life are strongly influenced by our parents, since they too have been affected by their parents. And then we go back to, generations after generations, everyone has been affected in a deep way. So unresolved traumas can be passed down forward from one generation to the other, decade after decade after decade. At least in my own experience, what I've understood is that these traumas, these unresolved emotional issues, they are at least affected within 6 to 7 generations. We do not know who they were. We may not know their names. We may not know how many of them were there in our generations previous to us, but we have their eyes, we have the complexion of their skin. We do carry uh, the traumas that they went through. Probably they went through war, famine, drought, murder, suicides. They just disappeared. Something happened. So all these things. Women were abused, misused. They were treated as slaves. Men died in war, never came back. Children had to live without a father, for example. So all these things have disrupted the flow of love. That is exactly what family constellation talks about. So the flow of love. So love is the binding force between every individual in this world, especially within families. So when something happens in the family system that disrupts the flow of love, it affects the following generations and the generations after that. So in this therapy, we go back to that time when the disruption happened. And it shows clearly within the process that I work with where exactly so and so problem is coming from. So if, for example, a client comes to me and says that I feel this kind of an anxiety, it's just a question, case I'm talking about. Very quickly, I will talk about it. So going through an anxiety, and I don't know why it happens. So I begin this process to understand where this anxiety could be coming from. So it could go back to 2-3 generations. And then we heal it then and there. So, I mean, this is just a brief introduction. I'm telling you all about it. So there was this Swiss psychiatrist, Carl Jung, very, very famous, very well known. He said something like this: it often seems as if there were an impersonal karma within a family, which passes on from parents to children. It has always seemed to me that I had to complete or perhaps continue things which previous generations had left unfinished. Okay, so in family constellation, we look for why of these patterns. Well, what is causing the unresolved trauma, unfinished business, or unexpressed pain or shame in family system move forward into the next generation? So when I'm referring to relationship issues, why people are failing in relationships these days, why there is a surge of divorce and separation, why there's so much of disconnection between husband and wife, and as a result the disconnection is there with the children as well. So it all goes back to certain patterns in families that we are affected by. And it's just not the case with the husband. It could be in case of both the husband and wife, they could be coming from systems where this pattern has been prominent.
Shasta, there's a question before
Sure.
you go to the next slide. Okay, one of the participants, she's asking, I'm going to read as it is. Is it normal to feel cold, numb in your marital relationship? Can
Yes.
it be because of one parent emotionally unavailable in
Yes.
childhood? Even when you are intimate, you feel no pleasure. Instead, you just want to pretend to be pleased to make your partner happy.
Yes.
And they affect in long run.
So if they can specify which parent are they talking about, is it a mother or the father?
Father,
So
I believe, because it's the same participant is talking about the father.
Okay, so yes, definitely. If they were disconnected from the father, because father is the first masculine experience of any child, and mother is the first feminine experience of any child. So when disconnection happens at that level, it definitely affects the subsequent feminine or masculine experiences we are going to have in life. I hope that makes clear. So we have to go back and heal the relationship with the father first to be able to be present for the husband. That's what family constellation talks about. So our family is an energy field. It is an invisible energy field within which we are held, each in our own unique position from the time we are born. Just like the planets I was talking about, referring to, they are in a certain orbit and they stay in their own place. They do not move even an inch because that's a place assigned to them. Likewise, we humans, from the time we are born, we are assigned a particular place, and that place cannot be sort of shuffled or changed. And when that happens, we are not living our own life. We are affected by many, many energies, many, many things subconsciously. And definitely, that's one of the reasons I really, really talk so much about family constellation, because it really helps people to broaden their perspective of life, broaden their um, you know understanding of where they are coming from and where the issue was coming from, and then heal it at a core. So family constellation looks with love and not with judgment for what really happened. They seek to discover hidden dynamics in the family energy field that led people to become victim or perpetrators. Okay, so 1 second. So on an ego level, the victims are innocent. This is what we have been conditioned since childhood in all societies. So this is around all cultures, all societies throughout the world. So there are two levels of our being. In simple terms, I'm trying to make you all understand that one is the ego level. So ego means false perception of my personality. So I could be thinking of myself as, oh, I'm a victim, I'm helpless, or I'm arrogant, or I'm too perfect. So all these are false perception of my own personality that I have created as a result of my experiences. Okay, but it could be false. On a soul level, soul is pure, soul is non-judgmental. So the more disconnect we are from our soul, the more uneasiness we will feel in our life. And that's why sometimes for the soul to connect back to us in our physical form, we go through rigorous, brutal experiences in life in order to wake up. So here on the ego level, what I'm trying to say is that we have been conditioned to believe that victims are innocent. The perpetrators or the abusers are to be blamed and punished because they are responsible for the suffering. The stories we have always told about a family and what happened in it are not true. We have just heard of the stories, but there could be other perspective to it, which we are not aware of. They are only how we interpreted the events we saw or participated in, or we heard from our elders. So, okay, for example, if I say that my husband betrayed me, my child is difficult, my mother drove my father to suicide. So on a soul level, if you go to the other part of it, my husband betrayed me, I'm flipping it. What I'm trying to understand through family constellation is that what happened in me or in my or my husband's family that led him to betray me. So on a soul level, we do not judge people why they are perpetrators, why am I a victim. We try to understand what was happening in my husband's system from where he came, and then we became a couple, that led him to betray me. The next was, my child is difficult. What is happening between my husband and me? What is the relationship dynamic or in our family field from where I came from a family system from where I came, that causes my child to be difficult? So we are trying to broaden the horizon of our understanding with the help of this therapy. My mother drove my father to suicide was another example. Then on a soul level, we have to understand what happened in my father's family that caused him to take his life. What was he carrying in his soul on a subconscious level that made him to do something like that, something as horrendous as committing suicide? So the soul is very non-judgmental. The ego is judgmental. So how is the relationship constellation different from relationship counseling? I will be talking about the issues, but I wanted to make people understand that what is the difference between the both of them. They're very, very entirely different. In constellation, we look at systemic issues, but not individual issues. So what is the system? So if a client comes to me, I will just not look into why the person is going through this, what kind of beliefs he has, but I will also look into the system from where he came, his mother, father, grandfather, grandmother, and the extended family. It helps people to see things that they have not been able to see up till now, and that creates a lot of power empowerment. It empowers in an individual, a client, because he understands that whatever happened to him was not really his fault. There were things, that there were unseen burdens, there were unseen issues that he was carrying on behalf of a parent or a grandparent. No need for the presence of other partners. So sometimes what happens is in counseling is that one partner is very keen on having sorting out the issues. The other partner could be very reluctant, not interested. But in constellation, we necessarily do not need the presence of the other partner. The one who is having more issues can, come up with an issue, and without the presence of the partner, the other one, we can understand the dynamics between them. What is the dynamics between husband and wife, and how children are getting affected by that? So as a facilitator of constellation, we do not work as referees in relationship problems of the client. We are not referees. We give them the insight, what the system is, trying to decipher, what came out in the session, and they are free however they want to use it in order to move on in life. And that is very, very, strengthening for them. They know that they have taken away something from the session which is going to help them move on in life. It is very healing. It is not as if I'm going to give them an assignment. Okay, as a couple, you're going to do this, and update me next week. No, it's not like that. There is no identification of the right and wrong in constellation, that one partner is right and the other is wrong. We understand where the victim and the perpetrator energy is coming from, and we heal it at that root cause. Relationship doesn't fail because of individual problems. Relationships are prey to subconscious loyalties and strong bonds with parents and previous ancestors. If the relationship cannot be repaired and separation is inevitable, this therapy helps partner to move apart in a mature way. So these are some of the benefits I wanted to quote. So what does family constellation says about relationship? Men and women are complementary to one another. This is the first rule that all communities, all cultures probably have forgotten. And probably, I don't know why this has happened, but this disbalance has created a lot of disbalance in the entire world. That one is bigger than the other, or one is stronger than the other. However, God has made men and women equal to one another. And that is why also in Quran, it is clearly mentioned that we are, I think, clothes, libas, ek dusre ka, something like that, which means that we are there to complement each other. So because we are there to complement each other, we must not try to change our partner. We must not try to educate our partner. When the husband or the wife tend to do something like that in order to change the partner, things will begin to go down the lane. Things will become destructive, because educating or trying to change one or the other is the role of a parent. Only a parent has the right to teach me or you, not my husband or not my wife. So we have to understand that both are equal, both have equal rights, they complement each other. So a man has something that a woman doesn't have. So when we get into that relationship, so the woman is getting something from the man which she needs. Maybe it's the strength, maybe it's the support, whatever. But that's how they complement each other. And it's important to know that we must not try to change the other person. We have to, because once we get into the relationship, we have already assigned ourselves into that relationship. We have already acknowledged the other person for who they are. Then after getting married, why do we want to change the other person? The only intention is not going to serve the relationship for a long time. So we have to let go of this need.
There's
I know these are, sorry?
There is a question.
Yeah.
By the same participant. She's mentioning her father, and she says, I did work on the relationship with father, but most of my life he didn't show affection as a dad. So I don't know if it's a question or a comment, but I just want you to. And then the question is, why a person feel a need to change his or her partner? Is it that particular need is arising from their own insecurities?
Of Of course. I'm getting into that after this slide probably. Yes. So if she's saying that she has worked with the relationship of her father, I mean, she has to be a little clear how was she working around with it. What was she trying to work out with him as? What
Would you like
methods?
would you like
Yeah.
her to speak?
Yeah, sure.
Um, do you, Annie, you
I mean,
want
if
to?
she's okay too.
If you're okay, you can you can ask Shaista's answer Shaista's question.
Oh, it's Annie. Okay, now I can see her. Hi, Annie.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Shaista.
Hi, Annie. How are you? So tell me.
I'm fine. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, you just I was a little lost. You just said something when I mentioned about the dad. Remember that he was not emotionally available, and remember we did therapy last time. Shaista knows me. I
Hmm.
volunteer myself. Um. Okay. There's one major thing that I'm battling. Okay, I have two beautiful children. Okay,
Hmm.
and the problem was that obviously people in Islam you get married, right, and then you raise your kids, for your husband or for his generation, whatever it is. The
Hmm.
thing is that a lot of people, I've never felt, okay, people talk about that you get intimate and like you feel pleasure and this and that, right?
Hmm.
Why I am so numb? I mean, I have to trust me. I try to push things away, whatever I have gone through in the past. I was physically abused too. I'm not ashamed to say that because it
Exactly.
was not my
Exactly.
fault.
I was getting to that.
Okay,
I could feel it.
and
Yeah.
it was a family member, unfortunately. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
so
And that's why you are
but
numb.
before it proceed, I changed that, but I never forgot. Even though you won't believe it, I especially add that person in the Facebook because he's a dad, and I told him that you should be ashamed in your childhood what you did to me.
Who was
You
he?
know, he was
Family member.
my mom. He was my mom, brother, wife, brother. Got it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And they were little. I mean, he was
So
little too, but
Just put a full stop before I forget what I have to answer. So when you say that you have become numb and you have gotten over it and you have pushed it on, what you are actually doing is you're not still healing what hurt you. You're pushing it away. Okay, I will be talking more about it. It's called the inner child. So the child who suffered abuse, whatever that age that could be, maybe it was when you were 6 or 7 or 8, that child is still alive in you. That is called inner child. The child that suffered abuse at the hands of someone, and then you started feeling unsafe, probably, right? So now when
yes,
you're trying to forget it, you're telling that inner child, I do not want to see you. It's too painful to look at you. And that same child will keep coming back and forth into your life and telling you that, Annie, please look at me. I'm still there. Okay, and in therapies, all these inner children are definitely need to be dealt with. So even
yes,
if people say that I have a headache, I have a migraine, I have chronic knee pain, so these issues are also inner child issues. These are the children within us who we have lived those years, went through something very traumatic, and now we have pushed them away because it's too painful to look at them.
yes.
Need to heal those inner children so that we are able to get our energy back, which is being held by those children. So in reality, time is not linear. Time is past, present, future is at the same time. In the quantum field, that's why it's important to understand and learn all these things. Time is not past, present, future. Time is, so those children are still suffering. So Annie at that age of 5 or 6, when she was abused, that child is still being suffering. That child is still going through the suffering of being abused. And what
Even
you're
after you
doing is
think,
you're pushing him away. And since you're pushing him away, you're saying that you are not my part of me. I do not want to look at you. That child is feeling alone, and maybe it's been numbed. And that's why you feel numb in your relationships. Does
yes,
that
I
make
have to
sense?
pretend. Yes, I have to pretend.
You can't
Like I
pretend for
don't.
long, Annie. No one can. I couldn't. I mean, I had to go through a lot of breakthrough in my body to understand, oh my God, what's happening with me? What did I do to deserve this? till I started actually understanding the, oh my God, there's so many aspects of me, there's so many parts of me which have been shattered in time and space, and I need to integrate them back because they are all my parts. So whatever happened to me when I was 4, 7, 10, 12, those parts have been disintegrated from me. I need to hold them back. I need to bring them back to feel whole. That's the whole point of therapies.
I just want to say that, yes, I just want to say that I forgive that person, and like my mom. There's another reason that I had the debate. I'm not going to go on and off that I have problems with my dad. Okay, because he was not there. I think if he would be there, this thing would not happen to me.
Of course.
But one thing I did, I told my mom right away when this happens to me, and I told her that I want to go back to home because we were at her house. So and that was just one person. Like they have brothers, but they are very nice and respectful. So it's not like everybody. Okay. But yeah, I agree with you, and you won't believe, sometimes I feel so disgusted, even though like even marriage relationship, like that's halal, right? That's from Allah.
Yeah, but it's not you who's feeling disgusted, it's that child. Okay, I have to say it again and again. It's not you. You need to heal that inner child. Okay.
And then my daughter was born, and I got so angry on him. Why is that?
Yeah. So thank you so much, Annie, for your question. But I hope I gave you some pointer. You need to deeper. You need to heal your issues to feel whole.
And please let us know, okay, how we can do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Annie, can you pause yourself?
Thank you. Okay, so going to the next point. In relationship, it's important to keep a balance of giving and receiving. So what we have learned in our communities, especially in my Pakistani communities, that as a woman, I have to keep on giving, sacrifice, forgive, do so much, be overly responsible, all these things. So what we are doing is that if I show you using my little French that I use for this therapy. So I hope you can all see this. So I have this man and a woman. Yeah. So when a woman is sacrificing, doing good, overly responsible, nurturing, what else I said? Sacrificing, I mean, just giving up herself, basically. So what's happening in the relationship is that you can see what's happening, right? I don't have to tell you. The woman is becoming bigger and the man has become smaller in the relationship. There's a complete disbalance of the dynamics, which is supposed to be equal. So man and woman are equal, but when one is giving, the other is receiving, the one who is receiving so much love, attention, whatever, becomes burdened. This person becomes burdened on a soul level. I'm not saying consciously. None of this is conscious. The talk that I'm having right now is all about subconscious things that we feel that we have absolutely no awareness of. This person, the man, becomes burdened and he will move away because it's too much for him. He can't repay this person back. So in exchange of love, give little more. So when it's a harmonious relationship, what's happening is that when this person is giving love, so wife is giving love to husband, so the husband can add little more love into it and give her back. So now she has gotten little more of love that she gave to the man. And subsequently, she's going to add little more of her love into it and give him. So in this way, the relationship begins to grow. Disturbance in balance is when partner is too demanding, playing victim, overly responsible, trying to be perfect. So when a wife is giving too much to him, attention, looking after each and everything, and saying that, oh my God, I'm not getting anything from him. I'm the victim. I'm not getting anything in return. Is that, and so there is an expectation from this person, from the wife, from the husband side. Oh my God, I hope this person appreciates me. And if he doesn't, she feels less of a person. She feels less of a human. She feels less of a wife. She feels neglected or whatever. So she is demanding something from the husband, or the husband also could be demanding something from the wife, which is not possible for the other person to give, because that demand can only be met by a parent. So I keep going back to the parent relationship, even when I'm talking about the couple relationship. So it's important to heal whatever has not been healed, acknowledged, or understood with the parents first, so that we are fully present for our husband or wife. So desiring the kind of unconditional love, attention from a partner, that which is expected only from a parent, will only lead to disappointment. So we have to separate both the relationships. What my parents could do for me, my husband or my wife cannot. That's where we draw the line between both the relationships. We cannot merge these things together. Oh, my father was treating me like a princess, and my husband is not treating me like a princess. That was a different relationship altogether. This is a completely different dynamics. You can't expect your husband to treat you like a princess because you were a princess for your father. That was a father and daughter relationship. This is a husband. This is a relationship of adults. So what you're expecting from me is something that only my father or my mother can give me unconditionally. So balance of giving and receiving is very, very important. First come, first serve, which means is that in a couple relationship, we do have children after that. So the couple relationship must remain priority over the children. They thrive, they as in the children thrive, they are at peace, they feel secure and safe when parents are bonded in and bonded closely with one another, when they make their relationship a priority. What we have learned in our communities is that once a child is born, now the child takes precedence. So if you look here, I hope you can all see, because I'm just using, I'm not able to see all of you right now. So this is husband and wife. Okay, now a child. So now a child has come into the picture. So when the wife is fully absorbed and fully focused on the child, what's happening is that the child becomes bigger in the relationship. Whereas the fact of the matter is, the wife and the husband relationship came first, not the child. The child too feels burdened. Please note these things down and see the video later on as well. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be difficult to grasp what I'm trying to tell you all. So the child will feel burdened and may exhibit behavioral issues, may exhibit things that somehow are trying to tell both the parents to look at each other, not at the child. So it's very important to make the couple relationship a priority over children. That's when the children feel more secure, when the bond between the parents are strong, lovable, secure. The child as a result, or the children as a result, too feel bonded and secure. The question to ask is, who came first, partner or the children? So it's very important to understand that whoever came first has precedence, has priority, which is the husband and the wife. So when they are looking after each other's needs, they are emotionally connected with one another, they are present for one another, the children feel peaceful and at ease. All the symptoms that you are looking at, that you are experiencing with your children, will begin to shift miraculously when this priority has been established. So when children are put first, it weakens the bond between their parents and they feel insecure. So another question to ask is, how is your relationship with the same gender of parent? So I think most of us are ladies over here. So how is your relationship with your mother? So the ones who are daddy's princess or mama's boy will find it difficult to settle with their spouse, as she will always compare, or she or he, sorry, in both the cases, so the daddy's princess and the mama's boy. If you look around in your own environment, and if you come to get to know of certain situations where the girl was very close to the father, or the boy is very close to the mother, they will find it difficult to settle with the spouse, because they will compare the spouse with the mother or father. So important to connect with same gender of parents. So we get, as women, we get a femininity from our mother, and the men, they get their masculinity from their father. So it's important to understand, how is my relationship, since we are all women over here, I guess, So how is our relationship with our mother? So if you all want to just take a minute and think about it, or somebody wants to talk about it, you can do it for a minute or two. So how is your relationship with the same gender parent? How have you seen your mother dealing with her relationship with your father? Was it very cordial? Was it very compatible? Or was it the other way around? And then look at your own relationship. You will see some similar patterns there.
There's one participant mentioning that it's a comment starting from a comment. That's so true, like a best friend with my mom. Another participant is saying my mom and dad, they were loving towards each other.
Okay, that's good. So how is your own relationship? So even if you don't want to talk about it, but just for a second, draw your attention towards your relationship with your mother.
Okay.
And then after a few seconds, take your attention and focus on your relationship with your husband. You will see if you are very close to your mother, probably you are carrying the same patterns that your mother did in her relationship. So I'm only giving pointers. Like, I have to tell this very important aspect that every case is very different. So I'm just generalizing everything right now. It may not be in everybody's case, but I'm just trying to tell you all that when a woman is very close to the father, so she's a daddy's princess, what she's doing in her relationship is that she's comparing her her husband to the father, and she is expecting the husband to treat her the same way. This creates disappointments because he may not be able to treat her the same way. So we have to lower the expectation. We have to realize certain things. We have to sort of move from the father-daughter relationship towards the husband and wife relationship with a lot of understanding, and that understanding comes with awareness. Likewise, the boys or the men who are very close to their mother, I'm not judging them at all. What I'm trying to say is that they will have that perception, they will compare their wives with their mother, and they will expect same attention, same, what they got it from their mother. This is overburdening your wife because she may not be able to treat you the same way. She's not your mother, she's your wife. So that's the important thing I wanted to mention here. This creates a lot of issues within relationships. So relationship issues are inner child issues. I've already talked to Annie about this. And it's a very, very, very broad topic. Inner child is a very broad topic, but I just wanted to make one slide out of it so that at least you guys are able to understand, okay, this is another aspect that we have never been taught. Probably most of you have heard of it or never heard of it. So we physically grow up. What happens is that we physically grow up. We cannot stop time. We cannot reverse our age. But we have lived those years right from the time when we were in the womb of our mother. Something happened. Maybe I'm in the womb of my mother. I'm a small fetus. Something is happening in my mother's environment. Probably she is being scolded at. She's been abused. There is some disruption. There's some disharmony going on between the mother and the father. Or maybe she's depressed. She's going through a lot of trauma. Something is happening that definitely affects the fetus in the womb. So right there, the inner child has been created. For me, if I'm referring to myself and I'm in the womb of my mother and something of this sort is happening, then right there, an inner child of my own age when I was the fetus has been created. Now that child will feel unsafe when I'm born and I come out in the world. I grow up, I have this feeling of being unsafe. I'm not safe, or I'm having this anxiety, or I'm fearful of people. Where is this coming from? So we have to go back into the time when I was in the womb of the mother. I have to heal that part of me. That is exactly what inner child is called. So we physically grow up, but emotionally we are stuck in childlike behaviors and emotions that needs to be addressed. we regress. So what happens in a relationship is that when we get together as a husband and wife, something gets triggered. Like I said before in the beginning of the seminar, that relationship is uh, this relationship is like a institute. It is trying to teach us number and number of lessons that we may have never thought of. So once we are, in a relationship as a couple, we regress into a child or a victim role. Something gets triggered. It happens automatically. We can't stop it. We do not understand why this is happening to me, why the other person is behaving like that. Something happens that puts the other person in the role of a parent or a perpetrator. So what happens is that the husband or the wife will either become like a parent, or they will have that perpetrator energy, that energy of someone dominating the other person. And in me, the victim energy is sort of triggered. What energy are you carrying is the question. So are you carrying the energy of a perpetrator or of a victim? What is getting triggered? The demands, complaints, attitudes, behaviors we execute to our partner are a result of our own unhealed childhood trauma. I've already spoken about that, or transgenerational patterns exhibited in the partner relationship. So transgeneration patterns is that people in our lineage have gone through certain experiences which they have not been able to process, and as a result, me as their following generation or the generation after that has been affected as a result of it, because it is a pattern in that system to go through a victim feeling, to go through abuse, to go through separation, to go through divorce, to go through all those XYZ things. That is a pattern in the family, and that needs to be resolved. So I wanted to mention here that relationship issues are inner child issues. So these are some of the points. Generally, I wanted to mention them here. 25 signs you have a wounded inner child. So is there anybody who would like to read some of these for me? I would want people to interact as well, because I'm talking so much. So the more yes you say to all of these points or some of these points, means that you seriously need to work on your inner child, therapy. So you need to have these therapies, inner child. So who would like to volunteer and read some of them?
I can do that if somebody. Oh, Annie Khan. Go ahead, Annie. No, go ahead, Annie.
Yeah, Annie. Sure.
Amna can read too. Amna can read too, and I can read also.
I was like, nobody's raising hands, so go ahead, Annie. I would love to hear, because I'm listening.
Okay. 25 signs you have a wounded inner child. The more signs you say yes to, the more you need to seriously consider inner child work. In the deepest part of me, I feel that there's something wrong with me. I experience anxiety whenever contemplating doing something new. I'm a people pleaser and tend to lack a strong identity. I'm a rebel. I feel more alive when I am in conflict with others. I tend to hoard things and have trouble letting go. I feel guilty standing up for myself. I feel inadequate as a man or woman. I'm driven to always be a superachiever. I constantly criticize myself for being inadequate. I'm rigid and perfectionistic. I have trouble starting or finishing things. Lots of them applies to me.
Procrastination,
I'm ashamed of expressing strong emotions such as sadness or anger.
Yeah.
I rarely get mad, but when I do, I become rageful. I'm ashamed of my bodily functions. I distrust everyone, including myself. I'm an addict or have been addicted to something. I avoid conflict at all costs.
Yes, many women do. So what are they fearful of? Yeah, what are they fearful of?
I am afraid of people and tend to avoid them. I feel more responsible for others than for myself.
Yeah.
I never felt close to one or both of my parents. My deepest fear is being abandoned, and I'll do anything to hold on to a relationship. And actually, that's true.
Yes.
I struggle to say
many
no.
Women, yeah, absolutely. I struggle to say no. So we can't
Thank
even
you.
say no. Thank you so much, Annie. This was lovely. So I like people when they interact, because it makes me understand that, okay, everybody's awake.
Yeah, well, definitely. We all are hooked.
Yeah. So these are some of the prominent signs that people need to consider, that they have wounded inner children, and they need to really really work on that. Because the main motivation of me doing whatever I'm doing, I'm just giving an example because people should know this, is that when I do not work on my own issues, I inevitably pass it on to my children. There is no other way things are going to get resolved. Somebody else will resolve it on my behalf. They will probably begin to live the life that I'm living, being miserable, being helpless, being victim. And so what happens is that we have been taught to repress and suppress emotions. There are problems. Don't talk about it. This will happen. Go back to your home. We are not here to support you. Do not show your anger. If you show your anger, you are going to be a sinner. You are going to da da da. All those things. So what happens is that we have learned to repress and suppress our deepest desires, our emotions. And by doing that, our previous ancestors also thought that things are going to go away. But the system, the energy into which we are held energetically, subconsciously, never forgets what happened to them. The system remembers their pains, their sufferings, the traumas, the unspoken words, the unexpressed emotions. It remembers everything. It is called the knowing field. We are always immersed in the knowing field. This is the same field which Allah had mentioned in the Quran as well. So what will happen on the day of judgment is that people, they will not be able to say anything, but their hands, their body parts will express everything. What is that? That is knowing field as well. We in the world, this is something that is so beautiful. If we understand, if we wake up to it, to understand that whatever happened in the past is also happening in the present, is also going to happen in the future. So we have to go back into the time when it started, where it started, why people were not able to process their pain and their sufferings. They went through certain tragedies, and the field, the system energetically remembers it. So we have to make sure that we heal our issues, so that we are subconsciously not passing it down to our children and to our grandchildren and to our children after that, so to our lineage. So when we have the courage to heal our issues, what is happening is that we are healing the generation which is going to follow after us, as well as we are changing something in the dynamics of our ancestry as well. Okay, so this
Question here. Uh, Suppose if we don't have a wounded child, what is the opposite of it? If we don't
child who
exhibit,
is thriving, who's very creative.
yeah, so we'll have a healed, healthy child, but that child always remains, right?
That always. And let me tell you, that's a very good question, is that there was a time in my journey of healing as well where I thought maybe if I've had one or two healing sessions of healing my inner child, I'm done with it. But no, it's not like that. Each individual, if I'm not mistaken, has probably 80 to 100 or even more than that inner children in a lifetime. Not all children are seeking our attention, but the ones who are really hurt, who have been wounded beyond words, who are causing chronic issues in our body, they really, really need to be heard, to be acknowledged, to be healed. So yes, it's a very deep topic, and I will be talking more about inner child work sometime in September or October, whenever we have. It's a
Yeah.
very short topic. Yeah. So the next question is, what was the intention of getting into a relationship? So we go into a relationship hoping that our needs will be met. Sometimes it could be safety, security, financial, multiple needs. However, when that is a priority, our need is for a mother or father. So I told you I will be going back and forth when I'm talking to about relationship issues or couple relationship. I will be referring about parental relationship as well. So when we are wanting unconditional love or unconditional attention or we are demanding so much from our partner, be it husband or wife, what we are demanding. So demand always comes from a child like mentality. We cannot demand things from a husband or wife, okay, because it's a relationship of equals. If it's not a relationship, if it is not like that, then there are things that needs to be worked upon so that it becomes a relationship of equal. So that we can only demand certain things only from our parents. Undivided attention, unconditional love, unconditional attention, all of those things. So we cannot demand from our husband or wife what actually can be only provided by our parents. Then we cannot get the best out of a partner or give the best of ourselves. That's the point. Relationship work when two people have same intention to grow together instead of operating from a void. Again, void goes back to inner child issues. So there is a child who has been hurt, who is in pain, who is abused, blah, blah, blah. And hence, as a result, there is a void in me as an adult now. And I am operating from the perspective of a void, thinking that my husband or my wife is there to complete me. Okay? So all these things, and intention is very important. What is my intention of getting into a couple relationship or into a marriage? To complete something in me which is a void, or to complement me so that we can both grow together. So the intention has to be very, very important. This is one very, very important aspect why relationship suffers. The previous partners of husband or wife has to be acknowledged. They have to be given respect. They have to be reconciled, at least in my space or in your space. So if they were previous partners of my partner, and we have pushed them far away from us in our mind, we belittle them, we abuse them in our head, we talk ill about them, we criticize them, we judge them. What we are doing is that energetically part of us is still with them. We are not present entirely for our new relationship, for our present relationship. So previous partner bonds must be honored and reconciled in order to move on. Energetically, they have a huge effect. Okay, so this is a very deep topic again, but I'm just giving pointers because if I go much into the detail, it will take so much of time.
Here's a question.
Yes.
From a participant, starting from a comment. I love the baby loving version of me that still lives along inside of me. It hurts, but it's the major reason what I am today as an individual. And I think this is the question. I always get hurt. I do give love unconditionally, but in return from spouse, it's cold handshake.
Yes. So if you want to be a demo, we can do a small 5 or 10 minutes demo in the end, just to see the dynamics which are playing around in your relationship. I'm open to that. We can stop the recording if you would be willing to do that. Yeah, because
you can write
as a therapist, I cannot say anything out of my own experience until I see what actually is playing around in your dynamics, because you are a completely unique individual, right? There could be many facets to it. There could be many reasons why this is happening. So you are giving something. So
another question, it says equality in relationship. Do we have to give 50-50 in a relationship? That's the question.
50-50 in a relationship? No, of course not. You have to be 100% available and present for your relationship. That's when you are equal. And that's the other way around as well. So if a wife is giving 100% to the husband and the husband is giving 100%, there is no issue. So if you're giving 50%, where is the rest of the 50% of you is the question. Again, something is not right, so all these, it's a very hypothetical question you're asking. You need to give something more. What exactly is your question? Because if you're saying 50%, it has to be 100%. You have to be present for your husband. Again, it means that you are emotionally partially available. Part of you is not available. Where is it?
So what we're trying to ask is like wife and husband, they both like in terms of equality, they both are bringing 50% to make 100 relationship 100%. But like you said, no, each individual has to bring their 100% into
Yeah,
their
of course,
marriage.
because where else
Okay.
is the rest of it? Is the question.
Right, right. Okay. So
Okay.
50 plus 50 doesn't make 100. So 100 plus 100 equals to 200.
Exactly.
That's
That's
my
when the children
calculation.
feel secure because they know that they're, the parents are fully present with one
Okay.
another, right?
Okay.
So another um, aspect which hugely affects couple relationship is the abortion. I know this is a very, very controversial topic, and I don't want to get into that. But in terms of constellation, because it's a very soul work that I do, it clearly shows and indicates that planned abortions, yeah, of course, abortions are always planned due to any reason. So any reason that I can't, I don't want to have another child because I'm already having too many responsibilities, or I'm not ready for another child. The reason could be anything. When that happens, when an abortion happens, it inevitably um, stops the flow of love between the husband and the wife. So for example, again, I'll bring my little puppets here. So this wife is pregnant, and probably she wants to abort the child because she already has 3 4 children. Yeah, so she has 3 4 children, and she wants to abort the child she's carrying. So energetically, on a soul level, she is telling the husband, I do not want this part of you. I reject this part of you. And after the abortion, what will happen is that the love that was there between both the husband and wife will begin to wither. They will go separate ways, either practically or emotionally. They will be at loss. They will atone themselves. So this is the word that I wanted to use. They will atone their love because of what they did to the child. So abortions creates void in a relationship. Love is injured after abortions. The underlining thing is, I reject this part of you. This creates a void in the relationship, and partners atone on a soul level, subconsciously. Again, I have to mention it's a very subconscious thing that I'm talking about. They will atone themselves. They will carry this guilt. Again, the guilt is very subconscious. Their loves unconsciously as a result of the loss of a child. So abortions energetically has a huge effect, not just on the couple relationship, as well as on the children, the ones who survived, the one who made it to life. They too will be affected as a result of the abortion. It's again a very huge topic, but I just want to quickly keep on mentioning the things that affect relationship. Okay.
Shaista, you want to take a question or later? Because there are 2 questions.
We'll go very quickly with that.
Okay. All right. There's their first question: how can we be 100% emotionally, physically present? Kindly do give some examples.
I can
You
only
want
do a
to
demo. I can only do a demo.
okay. So we will answer that later. The second question, um, like you said, abortion is very controversial, and couples can both choose to go for this option for various reasons.
Yes.
I don't know, but I do have somebody, with a kind of similar background in the group. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's more like a comment or a feedback.
What I wanted to
And,
say was that even if it was done with the mutual consent that we don't want to have these children, still it will have a huge impact on the children who survived, who made it to life. They will carry a subconscious guilt of being the survivor. It is called survivor's guilt in constellation, which means that they will feel they will probably get addicted. Okay, I'm giving out a lot of information now, which could be very heavy for people, but I just want to say that the ones who survive probably will get into addictions at a later stage. They might fall sick. There could be untimely death as a result of it. And probably after the abortion, the husband and wife may physically, separate, as in the case for divorce, or they could also emotionally part their ways. So a lot of repercussions are there when abortions are done. I mean, this is something that was really very heavy for me to understand, but I've seen it time and again in my own sessions with my clients, that they do have a very, very deep effect, because we cannot tell a single soul that you do not belong. So it's all about belonging. You do not have the right to live. You do not have the right to belong. Who are we to say something like that? So when we do that, we have to bear the consequences of it. We have to carry the guilt. We have to carry the responsibility that we didn't allow so and so soul to enter into life, and we completely forget about them as if they never existed. This has a huge effect on the system energetically, subconsciously. Okay, so I know this is very deep work, but it's very important to be aware of.
Maybe we can cover, there is a recommendation if we can cover just the topic of abortion in any other session.
Yeah.
And we will plan that. I will coordinate with Shaista.
Yeah.
Another question, do you want to take it now or
Sure,
at
sure,
the
please.
end? Okay, it's from another participant, different participant. It says, if you're not mentally ready for having babies and neither do you want to create that void in your partner's relationship, what should be a woman's choice then? Should she go ahead with abortion still or what?
So if you want to go ahead with abortion, you will have to carry the consequences and the guilt as a result of it. So it's a very, very difficult thing to do. So it's better to have contraceptions and things like that, so that you don't have children. But if you conceive, then telling that soul that you are not wanted, I don't want you, you do not belong, is something that is out of our what do you call it? It's not our, we must not be able to decide on that. I mean, it's not our take. It's we become too much bigger than God when we do that, and it has consequences. I'm sorry to say all this, but it's very important that we are at least aware that these are the things that we have done in our life. And why is my son so angry at me? So this could be a question coming from a client. My son is very angry at me. Okay, what happened before him? Did you had any miscarriage or abortion? That's one of the questions I ask my clients often. Oh yes, I was not ready for it because we were just married and I conceived and I was not ready for a child, so I had an abortion. And 3 years or 4 years later, I had a child. That child who will be born after 3 or 4 years, after a few years, will probably have some behavioral issues, will probably have some eating disorders, will probably get into addictions, will probably have many, many, many issues because of that abortion. So it looks seemingly very small, but it has a huge effect, not just on the one who comes after or before that, but also on the subsequent the following generations. So abortions is equivalent to murder. So we have to be very, very careful with these things.
Thank you, Shaista.
Yeah, thank you so much. So the next point in relationship issues is the topic of in-laws, because there was 1 or 2 questions pertaining to it. So I wanted to just talk briefly about it. A man and a woman not only marry each other, but they also marry the system, which is very true. Each brings the conscience, traditions, beliefs of their own family into the relationship, and each wants to preserve these signs of belonging. Sometimes one partner believes that his or her family is superior and wants to impose those ways, which is what we see in our environment as well. Then the other partner is regarded as inferior and has to compensate. Giving and receiving are then out of balance, which was something I was talking about earlier, that giving and receiving becomes out of balance when we, so for example, this partner and this partner is telling the wife that even though you are my wife, I am superior. So the system that I came from, the beliefs, the traditions that I follow, the religious belief, or it could be anything, is superior to yours. So again, you can see there is a complete disbalance in the relationship. And this affects not only the couple relationship, but the relationship of the children as well. So what we can do is that when each family of origin, so each family of origin, so if he is telling something like that to her, he is actually not only disrespecting the wife, but disrespecting the whole system from where she comes. And if he has a child from this wife, he is also disrespecting half of what the child has now. So disrespecting the child also, and saying that I am the superior one, and I do not respect or regard the other half from where you came. So that happens very energetically on a very soul level, but this has a lot of repercussions, like I said. When each family of origin is fully respected and partners create their own conscious and customs from those that they inherited, they truly become a couple. So what is the point here is that, so the man and the woman, they have their own energetic system from where they come. So family of origin, we call it. So when they become a couple, so what they can do is that with mutual understanding, they can let go of certain things, beliefs, customs, which are not serving them as a couple, and create something new out of it. So new customs, new traditions, or new beliefs, something that is beneficial to both of them. That creates a lot of harmony. I know this is very difficult to do, but with the awareness, we can at least become creative. We can understand, okay, I'm not, so as a wife, if I, am living with my husband's, parents, and so there's a joint family system, I accept you, as my husband, but I'm not ready to accept your whole system. Okay, so there's a lot of disbalance when we are talking like that. Again, why people want to live in joint family system is again a very broad topic, but it's all about codependency. In psychology, it's regarded as codependency. People want to cling on to each other. Why is the question? Why do they want to cling on to each other? You have to again go back into the time and understand where this belief is coming from, what happened in the history of that family, in that system, what was the trauma, what led them to make this belief and hold on to this concept that they have to live together in order to survive, in order to live, in order to feel safe. So it's called codependency. Why do they want to live together? What happened? Okay, instead of judging the husband and his system, or the husband judging the system of the wife, we have to understand, why does he want to live with the whole system, with the whole family? Why does he want to live in a joint family system, and why does the system also wants to live with them? They are probably feeling safe with each other, so it's a very, very broad topic once again, but these are some of the things that needs to be considered, to be understood, that something must have happened in their previous generations, due to which they have decided to live together in order to remain safe, in order to survive. So it's all about survival tactics. Divorce, again a very broad topic, but it is important to understand that as a rule. That's why I put this picture over here. As a rule, a marriage does not end because one partner is at fault and the other is blameless, but because one or the other is entangled. So this is the entanglement I'm talking about, in the unresolved issues of his or her family of origin, or because they are being led in different directions. And that shows within the knowing field of constellation when it starts, that the husband and the wife, even though the wife is saying, I give so much attention to him, so much, but when these are my friends, okay, I use for constellation. So when these are put into the during the session, we can, okay, I love him so much, I give him so much attention, but when the client, I give this to them and I tell them, where do you want to place them? They will be looking in other directions, exactly like the picture. And that happens again very subconsciously. They're not aware of it. So this is how I understand that both are led in different directions. And that's one of the reasons divorces also happen. At the deepest core of this happens only and only due to the entanglements with one's own family system. So no one is right and no one is wrong. It's just that probably my husband, the husband or the wife, they are entangled, as in, stuck with something that has happened in the previous generations, or maybe it's a pattern of not getting along with the husband or the wife in a relationship, and that is being carried forward. People are not aware of these entanglements. That's the irony of it. They're not aware and therefore are lost in the blame game. Okay, so this is called the languages of love. Language of love. So I have mentioned this, it's a quiz, you can do it later on, which shows that every human being has their own particular love of language of love, which means that I was doing it day before yesterday for myself, and I understood that my language of love is words of affirmation, which means that when people say good things about me, I feel elevated. And when I'm criticized or when I'm, judged, I feel low. So I feel loved when people, say good words about me. Likewise, I was doing it for my husband, and for him, it is the physical touch. So we need to understand as a couple, we can also do this for children as well, for teenagers or for anyone. What is the language of love of my husband? What kind of language he understands? What is my own language as well? What does my husband, if my husband is very, he gives me all the gifts and everything is okay, but he is emotionally unavailable, or maybe he's not spending quality time, that is another language of love. He's not spending quality time with me. For me, he's not loving me at all, even though he's giving me gifts. Okay, so it's very important to understand that what is my own language of love, as well as the language of love for my husband. And you can do it for your children as well, so that you understand. So I got to know, interestingly, I just want to mention it here, that day before yesterday, when I was doing for myself and my husband, I understood that my elder son, he's around 12 years old. So his language of love is quality time. And that's one of the reason he says, Mama, you don't sit with me, or Daddy, you don't, so now I was able to understand just 3 days before that his language of love is quality time. So when people give him quality time, he feels loved. Okay, so please do this once the seminar is over, and you will be able to at least understand the language of your love, so language of love for yourself as well as your partner. Okay. Okay, observation. So this is one observation I wanted everyone to do. So what kind of complaints you have from your partner? So I want everyone to just give 1 or 2 minutes thinking about the complaints that you have from your partner. What do you feel and observe? What kind of demands do you have from him? Okay, any wants to say something?
Yes, I would like to say that mostly respect. I mean, love is okay. I mean, you cannot force somebody to love you. But my major thing is that at least respect me. Give me a respect that I gave you. Don't treat me like less a person.
Okay, and if you just draw your attention towards your mother, what kind of complaint do you have with your mother?
With my mom, toward me, you mean?
No. Your complaints towards your mother.
My complaints toward my mother will be, honestly, she's my friend.
Is it something similar to what
she's the one who give? No, it's actually not. I mean, I would say to my dad, but no, I can say the same thing for my dad. Same thing. Yes, like no sense of giving privacy to other person. Stepping on somebody else's space, and then expecting, like my father, he expect too much, but when it times for him to give, same thing to the other person, he lacks a lot of those emotions, but he don't understand.
He don't understand. So yeah, there you go. There is a connection of a parent, and that is affecting you and your current relationship as well. So this is what I wanted everyone to make an observation.
Yes.
Thank you, Annie, for that. Okay, so how to make relationship work? So these are some of the points that I could quickly come up with. So clear unconscious entanglements and unhealthy bonds to parents. So you need to first work on healing your relationship with your parents first, so that you are fully present for your partner. So so previous partner and previous partners as well. So you have to heal your relationship with your parents as well as previous partners, if any. If you're still being resentful, angry with your previous partner or with your parents, you are definitely not fully present for your current partner as well. And when you do that, you free a lot of the energy which is still hooked up to those previous experiences. You free yourself from those experiences once you work on them. Don't involve children into adult issues. This is one very, very important aspect. It is called parentification, which means that we, as a spouse, so as a husband and wife, if a wife is not able to handle issues with respect to the husband, sometimes children are pulled into their issues. what happens is that the child again begins to feel burdened by that, and they will not be fully present to the adult relationship that they will form in their life later on. So don't involve children into adult issues. Solve your issues as adults, heal and grow. Don't put the burden on your children. Make couple relationship a priority over the family of origin. So once a couple relationship has been formed, we have to let go of wanting to prioritize the family of origin from where we came from. We have to let go of certain things from there and make couple relationship a priority, because that is a priority now, especially when we have children. Respect the system of your partner. Both partners come from very different family systems with their own experiences, good and bad, different belief system, different values. So we have to have the respect in our heart. We have to open our heart and say, I respect where you come from. I can see what you bring into this relationship, even if it's painful. When we acknowledge it, something begins to shift as well. Giving gratitude. If a partner gives a gift to the other, then the other can either give back something of equal value. Invest in your healing. This is something our community really, really needs to understand. Invest in your self growth, in your self development, in your healing. Your relationship will grow when you grow. There is no other formula to this. If you want to live a harmonious life with your partner, with your children, and with yourself, the first relationship that you can ever have is with yourself. If you are not in the center, if you are not fully present for yourself as well, how do you think you will be able to be present for others around you? Take responsibility instead of playing a victim. So we have to flip the situation and take charge of our life and say, this is my life. I want to change certain aspects of my life. I take charge of my life. I take back my power. Okay, so these were some of the questions I was put forward. Let me see if there's anything else. Okay, guys, I want to say something here that I am planning to do a healing workshop in few days. If anybody would be interested, I will share the details with Amna. I was not able to do it past few days. I was not well. But if anybody would be interested to participate, that will not be recorded. I don't take many people for those healing workshops. I only take around 8 or 9 people maximum. And it is a very small group that I prefer, and it won't be recorded. So it's going to be for 2 or 3 hours for 2 days. Okay, so if anybody would be interested, I won't be taking many people. So please do let Amna know or me know if you would be interested in that. So these were some of the questions. If those people are here, or Amna, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to do a demo?
Let's go ahead, because I don't have many questions. It's just a feedback. You're welcome. Thank you, Shaista. And then I think anyone wants to participate in that workshop. But you know what? As soon as Shaista shares detail with me, I'm gonna share in the group.
Yeah.
And then whoever comes first, I'll ask her how many people we can take. So
because it will be for 2 days, and I only take maximum 8 or 10 people. Not more than that. Not more.
Okay.
So it'll be very close.
So, yeah.
Okay, so these were some of the questions that Amna had forwarded me. So one of the question was, I gave him a life, his entire family a US citizen. I want to, just go through the question. I wasted my age, my virginity for what I had amazing potential. So there are some of these things that I have highlighted just to make people understand that this is a language people use for themselves. So this shows that there is a lot of trauma people are holding on to. And it's about time that we, take this shell off around us and take things as they really are. So these are the words that, because I understand words as well when people talk about their issues, because words have energies, words have power. So this lady was saying, I'm just full of regret. I am to blame. Mine is ruined. So life is ruined because of me. So there's a lot of self-hatred. Probably she's very angry at herself as well. Already had 2 miscarriages. So I spoke about abortion here. And likewise, miscarriages also has a huge energetic effect, not just on the couple relationship, but the relationship of with the children, as well as with oneself. So maybe she too is feeling regretful of being alive, because these 2 miscarriages are things that needs to be worked on. I don't want to get much into detail with this one, but there are some highlights here, so that this lady can understand that she really needs to heal parts of herself, because she's everywhere right now. I hate myself so much. So when we are energetically using these words that I hate myself, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve love. So yeah, so she's written it here as well. In agonizing pain, what else do you, so we attract the same situation over and over again till we take our power back, till we understand that whatever is happening to me in my environment is just trying to wake me up. Please, every one of you, listen to this when I say that whatever happens to you in your environment is not there to break you, to make you feel miserable. It is there to wake you up from a deep sleep, from illusions, from beliefs that are no longer serving you. Okay, to take charge of your life, to start doing what you came here to do for. What did you came to do? What did you, what was the purpose of your life? Why did you came into this world? So all those things that we go through, all the hurdles and problems we go through in a life is there to wake us up. Okay, but till you keep on saying things like that, I'm to be blamed and I don't deserve this, I don't deserve love, I wish, so which clearly shows that there is a lot of trauma which is holding you back. You're still hooked onto the past. You need to let go and heal yourself and move forward. The next question was, I came to America 2 years ago. I live with my in-laws. So there are certain highlights that I've done here. I am their slave. No privacy. I cannot complain. How can I live? I do dua that I die. I cannot eat anything if I'm hungry beside lunch or dinner time. I'm not allowed to work. So this is probably indicating to a fact that to a slavery mindset. I'm their slave indicates to a fact that somebody in the family was a slave, or something happened to a slave in the family. You have to go back and heal that bit of it. So who was the slave in the family? What happened to them? What was the trauma there? Because these are just not words, they are subconscious words. They are pointing towards something that has happened, which is very tragic, and it needs to be healed. So this is something that I can say with regards to this question. So in my opinion, change begins with self and rest is just a ripple effect. We have to heal a lot of, just 1 second. Oh, thank God I was doing recording. For a second, I thought maybe the recording was not happening. Okay. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, because this was a very deep topic and I think I'm done with most of it.
Anybody has any question? No, I mean, it's very informative, and I think I need, like, I'm gonna listen to it one more time because I need to absorb so much of information. It's very educating. Like, suppose if I'm going out and talking to somebody, now I mean, there were a few things I know, but now when I'm going to talk, I know what exactly I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So thank you for educating us. And
My pleasure.
Anybody else, if you have
if anybody wants to do a very brief demo just to understand anything that they're going through, especially in a couple relationship, I'll just do a very, very brief demo so that you understand what I've been talking about, because constellation is very experiential. You experience it when you see it. No amount of words are enough to explain it.
Annie, you have your hand raised if you want to go ahead and talk.
And I can stop the recording then.
Yes, Shaista. Okay.